Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Report Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, WWE Money in the Bank 2024 edition. I was able to get it finished up this morning, going on and run down everything that happened on Saturday night there in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We did find out that John Cena will make a return in 2025 for his retirement tour. He mentioned the different big shows. Will be his last Rumble, his last Mania. So it's going to be very exciting to kind of see where his career ends there with those guys and who he wrestles and doesn't wrestle and whatnot. Hopefully he's able to have some big matches, have those kind of dream scenario matches to go out in his career. My guess would be the following year, WWE Hall of Fame. So that's kind of exciting news. One time not being a John Cena fan, but then watching the migration of John Cena from that, in my eyes, 3 moves, 0 talent guy, to one of the best in the business. We also found out October 5th will be Bad Blood pay-per-view, our premium live event. The return, 28 years later from the original 1998, I think it was 97, when Kane debuted there. Wasn't that? Let's see, pull that up here real quick. So it's one of those unique names that WWE's had over the years. 1997, Bad Blood in Your House. First ever Hell in a Cell. That was in St. Louis, Missouri at the Kiel Center. We got Undertaker, Shawn, Hell in the Cell. Kane debuted. So it was a #1 contender match. I didn't realize that's what I was thinking for the title. So yeah, getting that, come back on October 5th. So that's going to be kind of neat to see. There's only been 4 Bad Bloods, including the 2024. So only 3 previous, 2003, 2004, during the original brand split. So that'll be fun to see how they do that, especially with the current modern day WWE with no blood. And the name of the show is Bad Blood. So we almost need a first blood match, but we'll see. I think it's going to have something to do with the Bloodline. Bad Blood, but there we go. Maybe we get like a War Games type Bad Blood with the head of the tables and all that going at it. So something to do with that. Alright, first match on the card was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I know for me as a fan, Money in the Bank has always been, the match itself has always been one of the most anticipated matches, like the Royal Rumble. But I always like it when you have guys who have never won a WWE title. Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, Yeet, and L.A. Knight. We also have Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has won this match before. He's won the world title multiple times. I think the Money in the Bank needs to be for guys who have never won a world title. So those kind of guys can kind of get their big break, like Edge got to start out with, like Punk got when he won in WrestleMania 24, but didn't really have that full heel turn until after he won in 25. But Drew McIntyre in it as well. We had Carmelo Hayes doing springboard clotheslines on Andrade. Andrade doing Spanish flies on the ladder. We had Gable doing an ankle lock on Hayes while standing on 2 ladders. We had Andrade doing the somerset plancha thing, slam thingamajigger on Hayes on the ladder on the ropes. We had just all kinds of little crazy stuff. We had the big ladder spots that you typically do see in WWE. Now there are some that you see in other promotions a little more drastic. A couple things we saw in the women's that's holy cow, I can't believe they did that, especially in a women's match. But overall, good match for the men. 16 minutes. Money in the Bank winner being Drew McIntyre, which we all knew. Once Drew won that, I know for me watching it, it was like, well, you kind of know he's cashing in on Priest. You kind of knew that Punk was going to get involved. And later on in the night, we had exactly that. So Drew McIntyre, your 2024 men's Money in the Bank winner. Next up, we had WWE Intercontinental title line. We had champion Sami Zayn taking on Bron Breakker. Sami did a crazy moonsault to the outside on the Breakker. And then he did another dive off the ropes on the Breakker, and Breakker caught him. I thought Bron was going to break him in half. What kills me sometimes with WWE is with some of their booking. They like to book in hometowns champions lose. But here in Toronto, Canada, it's not the same as exact hometown, but in that area, they booked Sami stronger than I think they typically would have at one time. At one time, Sami's booking was piss poor. I think since Tripp has taken over, guys like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, their booking has changed so much because of the NXT stuff. But you'd think Bron Breakker would be a trick guy. I mean, he's got the look, he's got the ability, he's got the name, he's a second generation superstar, and he's got the moveset. Why haven't they just shut this dude to the moon? My opinion, Breakker should have won Money in the Bank. You put the Money in the Bank briefcase on him. You give him a year to build that freaking briefcase up. Don't even tease cash in and just come outside cash in when I'm damn good and ready. And just have him come out and just annihilate people for a year. And then, oh yeah, cash it in. But him losing to Sami Zayn here, I think there's a saying in wrestling, getting over and going over. I think Sami Zayn went over. He got the victory, got the pinfall victory for the Intercontinental title. But I think Breakker, every time he has matches like this, he gets over more and more. I give this match 3.5. Oh, I gave the Money in the Bank 4.25. I give this match 3.5. I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to see eventually who Sami does lose to, and see where they go from there. And I want to see Bron Breakker winning, kind of a winning streak. I would almost like to say a Goldberg version winning streak. Put the next Money in the Bank briefcase on Breakker. Give him a year-long undefeated streak. You have to catch title within a year. So say July next year's Money in the Bank, he holds it to June, like the end of June, and then he cashes in or something. Or maybe he's like, you know what, I've had a title for a year. I told Triple H I want to cash in this date, even though it's past a year. I want to cash in at next year's Money in the Bank. I'm going to hold this briefcase a year, but you know what? Whoever the champions are, I might cash in before that. And just bulldoze for a year. But Sami Zayn still your Intercontinental Champion. WWE title on the line. Champion Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. This match was a hard-hitting match to start. Seth and Damian were just beating the tar out of one another. What killed me about this match, and one thing I hated the most at the beginning, they kept looking toward the stage. You had the expectation of Drew coming out. I think that just, at first it's like, okay, come on now. Seriously, we just keep looking at the stage. Ignore the stage. Don't even think that's going to happen. Just go out there and put a match on it. Obviously, it did happen. Drew came out during the match, cashed it in, make a triple threat match out of it. Went to Claymore, Priest. Seth comes in with a super kick. Punk comes out and screws over Priest again, over McIntyre again. I am getting sick and tired. So Punk now has screwed McIntyre at WrestleMania 40, Clash at the Castle, and now Money in the Bank. Because Fragile Phil got hurt at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in the Royal Rumble match by Drew McIntyre. And then I found this out after the show. Drew McIntyre went from winning Money in the Bank briefcase last night to cash it in on Seth Rollins' Damian Priest match, and then having Punk once again derail his efforts, causing an unsuccessful cash-in. Now today, Drew has been indefinitely suspended with WWE after getting into a physical confrontation with Raw general manager Adam Priest on the Money in the Bank post-show. I mean, I'm all for long-term booking. I'm all for what the Bloodline has done for SmackDown. But, gee, many Christmas, people. This whole thing with Punk screwing over McIntyre, and now McIntyre suspended. Punk still hurt. Fragile Phil. I mean, come on. Let's finally have a match with these two and let them stop screwing each other over. Or, I'm sorry, having Phil screw over Drew. I mean, come on. So, Damian Priest ended up pinning Seth Rollins to retain his WWE World title. Money in the Bank for the men's is gone. Another loss for it. The Money in the Bank cash-in has been lost. Gosh, it seems like it's lost more now than successful cash-in. I know Damian Priest cashed in the last one at Mania, kind of like a Seth Rollins kind of cash-in. I love that when Seth did that. But it seems like, let me find the Money in the Bank match and see what the results are here recently. Okay, here we go. So he held the briefcase 1 hour and 25 minutes, lost. Last year, Priest held it for 281 days, successfully cashed in. Austin Theory lost. Big E won it and cashed in. Otis lost the briefcase to The Miz, who cashed in. And then Lesnar held the contract. Was Lesnar successful? I think he was. But there was a streak there. You had him lose more than they were winning it. It's like, if you go back to like the John Cena days, he was losing more than that era was losing more than they were cashing in. It's taken away the Money in the Bank, because it was almost like a guarantee you're world champion. But it seems like they just kind of tarnished that to me. But Damian Priest still your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I give that match 3-star. Next up, we had the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We had Tiffany Stratton taking on Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Naomi, and Zoey Stark. You had the mix of women who have never held titles in WWE. Chelsea Green, Zoey Stark, she's the tag champion. Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, NXT champion, Naomi, and Io Sky, WWE Women's Champions. So you had that kind of mix of not main roster title champions. Holy crap, this match was incredible. Having Chelsea Green in the ring with a ladder, just standing in the middle of the ring, lost. She's scared of heights. She can't climb a step stool. How's she supposed to climb a ladder? Naomi Luthez pressed Zoey Stark on a ladder. That's kind of what it looked like. Tiffany swanton off the top rope on the Naomi. Zoey Stark and Lyra Valkyria. That was epic. Zoey and Io fighting on the ladder. Tombstone on the ladder by, who was that? I think it was on Zoey, if I remember correctly. And then just having the women actually fighting with the ladders, and then having the one that splits that Naomi did, and then having Tiffany Stratton, because it's tippy time, because she was at the tippy top. It's tippy time. Her pushing Chelsea Green off the ladder through the two tables was actually the best part of the match, because I'm not a Chelsea Green fan or her husband. And then Tiffany Stratton reaching up there and grabbing that briefcase. Now your new WWE Women's Money in the Bank briefcase holder. It is tippy time. Tiffany Stratton. 3 3/4 star match. I gave this. Epic. One of the best women's Money in the Bank matches. A whole lot better than the old Carmelo crap. James Ellsworth. But yeah, can't wait to see who she cashes in on and how that goes. Tiffany Stratton. I'm going to say it. People want to disagree with me, and that's fine. She is a green version of Charlotte Flair. I can't wait till Tiffany gets a few more years under her and her and Charlotte go main event WrestleMania. But Tiffany Stratton, Money Bank winner. Then the main event was the Bloodline. Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, with Tonga Loa on the outside, taking on Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton. I love how Michael Cole and Corey Graves kept putting over the fact that Triple H had to promise, had to make concessions with the Canadian government to let Jacob Fatu in the country, because he's this filthy killer and he's wanted and he's not allowed to cross country lines, and how he's just this animal, and they had to get special permission to get him in the country. It's like, oh my God. I've seen Jacob Fatu matches. He's awesome. He's better than Sikoa in the ring. He's probably the best member of the Bloodline in the ring. I love how fans are turning on Solo. So that's going to make it so much more epic when Roman returns and tries to take the Bloodline over. And that Bad Blood, we get Roman versus Solo Sikoa. And we get that going into War Games. The OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline. So you got Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. And I can see them adding Hikuleo. He's supposedly already signed. He's for the brother of Tama and Tonga. He comes in on their 5. Then you got Rock, you got Roman, you get the Usos back. You bring in the other cousin Zilla Fatu, who's a little green still, working in GCW. But then you get that 5-on-5, the Bloodline, the OG versus the new, and all that kind of dynamic. I think Bad Blood, you get Roman and Solo, and I think then at, which would be, probably my guess, the stipulation on that would be whoever wins that, their team gets the War Games advantage. And then War Games, you have Bloodline versus Bloodline. And then that ends up at Mania with Cody taking on The Rock. And then my guess is Roman versus, I almost want to say maybe, I don't know, Roman versus Seth, kind of the whole thing with bringing back the Shield kind of deal. I don't know what you do there. Or you do the tag match, kind of a version of the tag match on night 1. I don't know. But I think we get Rock versus Cody this Mania. And then the following Mania, because at Mania in Vegas next year, coming up in next year, the Vegas sells that show. So Rock, Cody would be a good match. Roman, Rock, WrestleMania 42 at Indianapolis, which I think it's first going to be Indianapolis or Nashville. That's going to sell tickets. That match will sell tickets in a city that's not a Vegas city. Vegas sells tickets for Vegas. So just my predictions there. But we had the Bloodline win here, taking out Cody, Kevin, and Randy. I give the match a 3.5. Solo did a crazy spear on Cody. Cody went to do the pedigree. I think it was Fatu came across to clothesline him. Cody moved out of the way. He got the referee, and they're like, the ref's knocked out. Oh my God! So, but the Bloodline leaving victorious. Kind of the Bloodline storyline, kind of like the NWO was back in the day. You can kind of see Trips. I watched that. I lived that era. I'm gonna book like that era. I know we talked about when Netflix comes in, the PG-13 stuff coming back, the kind of Raw. So I kind of want to see what that actually turns into. But that is WWE Money in the Bank. Stay tuned to our sports show tomorrow. I'll get up Heatwave. I'll get up GCW, Worst Behavior. I'll get all that done tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have his 50-day Robert Sports Show. From the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't just have a great day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.